speaking of looking really good, the Commanders offensively look really good, and the Bengals do not. They look fine offensively. Defensively, the Bengals have definitely had some issues right now, and so I'll give a little rundown here, and then we can break it down. I paid more attention to this one, but one thing that you don't really notice while you're watching, except for the fact that they feed it to you, if you're paying enough attention to like the graphics, Jaden Daniels went 21 for 23, threw 23 passes and only missed 2 of them. Had 250 yards. Kind of crazy. I did not realize he only missed 2 passes. Game was a crazy one. I had a massive pass to Terry McLaurin for an insane touchdown to cap off this game. Jaden Daniels was great on the ground. He was great in the air. Austin Eckler and Brian Robinson Jr. weren't like they don't rack up like 100 yards each, but they each get 30 yards on the ground and a touchdown. Terry McLaurin gets a receiving touchdown. Trent Scott, we get a big man TD in this one. That's a fun one. Saw the play open up. Saw Trent Scott kind of get to the side, and I was like, no way. He was happy about it. Jaden Daniels was happy about it. So he knew he had to go get his guy one. Washington offensively had really nothing to be upset about in this one. I mean, every single drive was a score, I do believe. One of them field goal. So they go touchdown. Then they end the half, which is that is what it is. And then they start the second half, touchdown, field goal, touchdown, and then they end out the game. This game is good. The Bengals really their only mistake is that they don't have as many touchdowns. Obviously, that's how you lose a football game. But for them, well, actually, no. Washington won last week with less touchdowns than the Giants. But the Bengals in this game start the shootout. They open up first 7-0, and then it's 7-7, and the Bengals miss a field goal, and then it's 14-7. The Bengals cash in on a field goal, and it's 14-10. And now you kind of get the sense that we might be moving. But Washington keeps it coming, makes it 21-10. Bengals by halftime are 21-13, and they're looking for some hope. And you kind of get it with it being 28-20 at some point. But those 2 field goal drives and the missed field goal really are gonna put this one to bed. These defenses couldn't stop much of anything. Luckily, the Washington defense forced a few more field goals and slowed down the Bengals. But I don't know. It's hard to argue that Joe Burrow and the Bengals offense looked bad in this one. Him and Jamar were great. They were super connected in this one. Zach Moss and Chase Brown had a great time as a kind of a duo on the ground for the Bengals in this one. And Andre Iosivas has been a secret target of Joe Burrow's every year. So I don't think it's getting really any secret anymore. But he did great. Mike Gesicki did great. Offensively, they did good. It's just that the Bengals never, ever once stopped the Commanders. And truthfully, the Commanders didn't stop the Bengals either. The Bengals just missed a field goal and then settled for 2 more. So you kind of both of these teams score the whole time. But what's something that's crazy is you get a guy like Jaden Daniels out of college. You pair him up with some good veterans like Brian Robinson, like Austin Eckler, like Terry McLaurin, Zach Ertz, and this Washington offense looked almost unstoppable in that game. That doesn't the Bengals defense isn't like the top defense in the NFL. But watching this Commanders offense do what they did Monday night, I was just genuinely impressed. I was stuck to the TV. This game was a good primetime shootout. It was an exciting one. I have nothing against the Bengals, but it was cool to see the Commanders win this one. And now the Bengals are in a little bit of hot water. They're on week 3. They are 3 games behind, which is the worst spot you could be in week 3.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to make this just about the Bengals because, again, like you said, Jaden Daniels had almost a perfect game. I mean, 21-23. I mean, like you said, they can't really do too much better than that except completing those 2 passes. So, I mean, he definitely came out, showed out what he could do. I know there's obviously a lot of debate between him and Caleb Williams right now. I know the Bears, they got some injuries, but I would still say Bears have the better he has the better weapons over there in Chicago. But so far, Jaden Daniels is looking like he's been better. And Commanders are 2-1, so at the end of the day, record's what matters. For the Bengals, you kind of look at their first few games here, these 3 losses, and it's kind of a different story in each one. That first game, offense was basically non-existent. We talked about that week 1. Last game, they probably should have won, but some mistakes here. Obviously, the penalties kind of screwed them there. You can debate the refs all you want with the Chiefs. I mean, they got help again against the Falcons. I guess that's just kind of how it is now. And then this Washington game, Yeah, like I said, I chose to watch the Bills. Probably would have been better off watching this one, but seems like you said, defense didn't do their job in this one, but even with the offense, they played a good game, but like you said, they didn't finish drives. So while the Commanders were out here scoring touchdowns, pretty consistently, um, Bengals obviously again, McPherson he missed that field goal, and then finishing with field goals themselves. That last drive of the first half, like, it just makes a little bit of the difference there. So if I don't want to act like the season's over, but I don't know how many scenarios now where we can keep saying like, hey, the Bengals gonna put together this game, and then they don't, and then we say, hey, the Bengals gonna pull it again this game. Like at some point, you have to win a game. Even with the extra game and the extra playoff spots we've had for the past 3-4 years now, you still have to at least have some kind of decent start. I don't know off the top of my head if there's been an 0-3 team to make the playoffs.
I think just one.
Yeah, so not very likely. We always have the discussion about 0-2 teams, and both of us says like, hey, we figured the Bengals would be able to pull it together, and the Bengals they seemingly always start slow, since Joe Burrow got there, whether it's injuries or just poor play. But I don't think we can sit here at this point and say, oh, they'll pick it up. And even with a game against Carolina, who got their first win, I mean, they were looking like the worst team in the history of the NFL for the first 2 weeks, and now Carolina might beat them too. So you got that, and then you got Baltimore coming up afterwards. Bengals, look, you have to have a complete game. You can't have your offense play well, your defense not hold up their end of the bargain. Then the first hand against the Patriots, they mostly did. Offense wasn't there, and then penalties cost them. It's just every facet of the game has kind of screwed them through these first 3 weeks. So, with all that being said, again, I do want to give credit to the Commanders. Do they have a chance in the NFC East with the way the Cowboys have been playing, and the Giants, of course, who they already beat and who play tonight? I think it's entirely possible. With the way the NFC East is right now, even with the Eagles. So I do want to give them credit for how they've been playing as well.